Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to make my own cam adjustment tool. I got a compass there. I'm going to put marks on this CD, and I got some magnets that I got from Hobby Lobby. So I may set these magnets on there or glue them on there. They'll be on the screws of the cams. That way I don't have to wait for that tool to come in. It's something I could do at home, low cost, and I'm going to put marks on there with a marker. Maybe put a couple marks on there with a knife. So let me go ahead and put marks on there with the compass and get this set, show you how it's going to work. So I taped it down, dot in the middle, put my little compass down, put marks at 0, 10 off, 10 off, 5 off, 5 off, drew little lines on them. That thing should be ready. Just got finished running an errand. It's Sunday. I don't like tinkering on Sunday. About as much as I don't like going to the junkyard on the weekends. Nonetheless, today is our last warmish day for about 4 days. Today, right now, it's about 58 degrees. The next 3 days it's going to be in the 40s, mid 40s. So I got a few things I need to get done on the Panther. I disconnected the heater core, hook it back up, leaking like crazy. So I need to reseal the heater core, and I need to do a few things for my tune. So let me go in here. I got 2 hours of daylight left and get started. As you all may remember, I replaced the firewall junction a week or two ago on the Panther, did some other stuff. Well, I put all the coolant back, lost a little bit, topped the coolant off the next day, good to go. 3-4 days later, I checked under the heater core. It's wet. Yesterday, I got a low coolant light. Had to top it off again. So, I'm leaking coolant under my carpet, which is not good. I got to do my best to dry that up. Good thing for me is the last FCP order that I made, I ordered those seals. Actually, 2 pair of those seals. The Volvo ones for the heater core. So I have those to replace it. And I didn't put the car back together. I have easy access to my heater core other than my power amp. Let me try to get that swapped over real quick. What I'm going to try to do is pinch off my heater core hoses right there with a small needle nose vice grips with some rubber on them. Come under here and disconnect this and try to catch whatever else coolant's going to come out of there. See, it's still wet there, so it's leaking. And then fill that coolant system back up. But man, I'm losing coolant under here, which is not good. I'm going to take that loose. I don't know if I can get it out far enough with the amp there or not. I'm going to take the amp screw loose, that screw loose, that other screw loose. Hopefully I can find my little tool. My T15, couldn't find it the other day, so let me look for it. I can't see my regular one, but I bought this Husky tool with the bits in the handle a few days ago, and the biggest size is the T15, so I should be able to get these out real easy with this. Yes. Let me keep rolling. If you don't have hose pinchers, you take these and make hose pinchers out of them, putting soft silicone on the tips of them. With the amp still in, I'm able to get that out far enough to get the new gaskets in. So it's unplugged. Let me plug in the new gaskets, take the old gaskets off, and put this securing screw back in. It's screwed tight. Looks like it's in all the way. I'm going to go ahead and dry that up. Check it in a day or two. My reservoir is not empty, but it's a little low, and I know when that heater core fills up, it will be. So I'm going to put as much as I can back in here, and then drive it. Once it gets filtered into the heater core, I'll top this off. What I'm going to do is take off my spark plug cover, and it looks like I'll have to remove this charge pipe, or at least take it loose, to get this spark plug cover all the way off, so that I can change my spark plugs to the type that my tuner recommended. Let me grab those and show you what he recommends for running the 19T in the tune that I have purchased. I want to get the most out of my tune, so I talked to my tuner, Aaron. He's at Vast Tuning. He said this will help you get the best performance out of your tune. These are copper tip plugs, and they should be gapped at 0.026. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the cover off, pull the plugs out, make sure these are gapped at 0.026, put them back in before I do my data logging or any of that. I want the card to be at his preferred setting when we do the data logging. That'll help him give me the best performance out of my tune. Now, these cards normally run on double platinum. These may not last 30,000 miles like the other ones. Last sometimes 40, 50,000 miles depending on your driving habits. But I'd rather get the best performance out of the tune and maybe have to change them every 15 or 20,000 miles. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to run these for at least 10,000 miles on this tune, see how it goes, and then maybe try a couple different other plugs. Let's start off with these. While I have my plugs out, I'm also going to pull my cap and rotor off, because I also need to adjust my cams to his recommended setting. So let me get this cap rotor out of the way, and then prepare to set my cams after I do my plugs. Here's my spark plug gap wheel. I'm going to take them to 0.026, put them in the holes, torque them down 18 foot-pounds. You always start your spark plugs in by hand. You don't have to put anti-seize on them. They have a coating on them. And I always torque mine, because this ain't something I do every day, so I don't have a feel for 18 foot-pounds. They're all torqued in. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the stuff off the back of the cam, put the cam locking tools on there after I set the timing up front. So I'm going to pull this front timing belt cover and get ready to set the cam timing according to my tuner's recommendation. Next thing I'm going to do is set the timing on my NA cams. I took cams out of a naturally aspirated 850. They're supposed to have more duration and more lift on the cam lobes. So this is supposed to give you a little bit more air in your combustion chamber, and your timing should be set to get the benefit of those cams. So I contacted the tuner at Vast Tuning, and they said set the intake cam 6 degrees retard and advance the exhaust cams 7 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and set my cams up like that so that I can get the most out of my tune. I'm making my own cam alignment tool. I'll go ahead and show you how I'm going to do that. Here are the plugs I took out. The gap on them appeared to have gone from 28 to 0.030, and this is the order they were in. They were probably due replacement anyway. I'll check and see if I can figure out how long they've been in the car. I set my crank on its time. Now my cams are on time. Now I got to access the back of the cams. Get the distributor off, the rotor off, the cap, the cam sensor. Get all this stuff accessible. Put the cam locking tools on. Of your rotor, as you can see, I don't have any carbon buildup on mine. And when you put these on, don't over tighten those screws. Check the condition of the cap. Make sure you don't have no bunch of carbon built up in there. If you do, you can either clean it off or replace it. I try to replace my cap, rotor, and wires every 100,000 miles. Now I need to take that off there, take that sensor out, and take the thing out of there. You got to be careful when you're putting these in. People put them in backwards. Let me show you what I mean in a second. Look real careful. Those tabs are off center. As you can see, they're off center to the top of the way I'm holding it. When you look at your cams in there, that slot is off center. Serial numbers down on the intake, serial numbers up on the exhaust. The intake cam, the slot is up. Exhaust cam, the slot is tilted down. When you put these in, you want to set them in place and you want to rotate them nice and gently until you feel it fall in place. It'll hang up, that's not in place. It'll feel like it hang up again, but that's not in place. You got to turn it around until both notches lock in place if it fell in. Now it's flush with that. If you get that thing half in one of the notches, you can tighten it up and smash down the other notch, which will make it not run right because your timing will be off. Over and over again, people do that. I get those calls and they have their car not running right because they've smashed this one, usually the one on the exhaust cam. Another thing that people like to over tighten is the screws in this cam sensor. I don't know why. Just snug them down, barely tighten. They'll be good. Mine are loose. Let me pull them out and get that stuff out of the way. Disc on the back of the cam, when in time, the disc will be lower firewall side. So I'm gonna get that screw out, get this disc out of the way, and put my cam locking tools on. And it's very common for people to get that thing in backwards. I got a little moisture on that, so I may have a cam seal leak, but nope, no leak there. Let me get my cam locking tools on. I put Volvo seals in here when I did the head a little over a year ago. Been adjusted once, so I'm going to loosen up the bolts on the front of the cam sprockets there, because the timing is not set at Volvo time. They've been advanced and retarded a little bit. I'm going to loosen all 6 of these bolts just a little bit, just to get them loose, and then I'm going to lock the cams in the back there. Then I'm going to put my tool on the front here and adjust them the degrees that I want. I'm going to do the intake cam first, then the exhaust cam. All of these are fingertip loose, so the timing can be adjusted. Let me go back there and lock the tool in place so that the cams I know will be proper set. Then I'll make my degree adjustment. Alright, I came back here. I tightened up this piece on top of it. That brought the cams in times to Volvo specs. Now I'm going to put my tool on the other side, take this loose, and adjust the intake cam, then the exhaust cam. Okay, now I have my CD in place, and I have magnets holding the CD against the screw heads that I loosened. Up here, you see this timing belt cover. It has a center notch with 0, and then it has 10 over there, 10, 20, 30. Those are not proper 10-degree marks. Each one of those marks are actually 5 degrees according to my compass marks here. So I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to rotate my intake cam, retard it, so that's going to be counterclockwise. My screws and my disc is going to turn a notch and a cup right past a notch. So that's going to be 6 degrees on the retard. So my last line here will probably just about match up with that there. That'll be 6 degrees, because right now I'm probably 1 degree off. So let me go back there, put my crescent wrench on that, take that bolt loose from the back, and crank that thing backwards. Put my big crescent wrench on this, and I'm going to turn that thing clockwise here, which will turn it counterclockwise up there and give me my retard on my intake cam, 6 degrees. Not sure if you could tell, but I moved that thing a little bit more than a whole notch counterclockwise up here, which should be 6 degrees. I'm going to do just a little bit more, and you can see on the back that the tool is separated from the exhaust cam one. So let me go ahead and move that just a little bit more, and then I'm going to carefully remove those magnets, tighten these screws down, and this thing will be set. See, you're moving the cam, but you're not moving the sprocket. So your timing marks will still say they're aligned, even though the cams inside the head have been turned. Since my exhaust side of my timing belt didn't have any marks for reference, I put a few marks on there. So now I'm going to make sure that those screws are loose. I'm going to set my CD in place. I'm going to line the center one up on that, and then I'm going to go on the other end and adjust that timing. Now that I have these screws secure, you can see the little gap in them there. I'm going to go on the back of it and remove that tool so that it's out of the way of my exhaust adjustments. I have the disc in place. I have my center mark lined up to the center mark I made there. Now I'm going to advance this 7 degrees. So let me go ahead and turn that, and the second mark should be a little bit past the center white mark I put on there. Let me go ahead and get this intake cam one out of the way so that I can put my tool on here and adjust the exhaust cam. Crescent wrench on there, roll this thing down. Man, it turned down really easy because of the compression on that thing. Let me go see where I'm at. Wow, I went about 10 degrees, so I'm going to back that thing up a little bit because I went 2 lines off the middle instead of 1. So let me go ahead, lift this up a little bit. Let's see where I'm at now. I'm probably about 8 degrees. I need to be 7, so I'm going to go back a little bit more. Alright, let me see where I'm at now. Alright, I'm about 6. Because I went from the center line to the next line. I'm going to move that thing down just a little bit. Then I'm going to come back over there and tighten up those. Man, that thing moves easy. To advance the exhaust. Yeah, I'm back at about 8, so I'm going to back that up just a little bit. That thing moves so easy, I got to be careful. Alright, let me see where that is. I think that's probably 7, as close to 7 as I'm going to get. Now next time I'm going to make those marks white. Paint them white with something so you can see them better. But let me go ahead and pull these magnets off, snug those screws down, and then tighten these screws down, remove the tool from the back. So I have 6 degrees retard on my intake, 7 degree advance on my exhaust, but the timing marks are still aligned. So anytime I do a timing belt, I don't have to worry about it. I just align my marks. See, these cam sprockets, they have slots in them, allow for cam adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that tool off of the back, and then I'm going to roll my timing over 2 full revolutions on my crank, get my timing marks back aligned just to make sure nothing's wrong with my timing on the inside of the engine. I don't have no piston to valve contact. So let me pull this tool off the back, roll this engine around. A couple of times, had no contact. my timing marks are perfectly aligned, so I can go ahead and close this flap up. There was no need to take this tire off to access the crank. So, I'm going to make sure your mount there is good. And you see the reference mark I have on my crank. And then close this flap back up, put that little washer back on. A good look at that mount. You know that mount's good because the bottom bolt is not digging into the rubber there. So that's how you check that mount. Right, now I have a problem here. Common problem with Volvos. If you see my crank sensor connection, that thing is coming apart. I got a break in the plastic there, I got a break in the plastic there. So I really need to undo this metal latch, get my crank sensor out of there, and I need to put what we call some kind of JB weld or some kind of epoxy to secure that connection, or that's going to go bad and cause me some crank sensor problems. So unfortunately, I'm going to take care of that, put the stuff back on the back of this engine, and I'll be ready for my tune runs. Also got to put my spark plug stuff back together as well. Now the sensor has these channels on it. It's got to come out of there just right or it's not going to come out. But you see how the connection is broken. So let me go ahead and epoxy that up to get that fixed. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.